Hey there, writer rebels. Have you always wanted to do a writing retreat but just don't want to fork out the dollars or just can't get away? Well, here's some tips on how to run a virtual writing retreat. Hey there everyone, my name is Scarlett Kol and welcome to my channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back, and if you aren't a subscriber, maybe you want to hit that subscription bar and the notification bell to let you know whenever I have a new video like this one. This week we are going to be talking about virtual writing retreats, which works out smashingly because it is the beginning of Camp NaNoWriMo, and with the current state of the world, everybody is a little bit locked indoors right now. So a virtual writing retreat might be the best thing that you can do for yourself. This video had been planned actually at the beginning of February because I do have some writer friends who are fantastic, but we are kind of spread out all over. I'm in Canada, but some of them are in Texas and Indiana, Michigan, Florida. We're all over the place. And we do love to meet up for actual, like in live writing retreats. But this year we had one planned we had one planned in Florida, but it didn't quite work out with timing and some financial priorities. So we had decided that we were going to go online and make it a virtual writing retreat. Now, with all the flights canceled and everybody in self-isolation, it has actually worked out perfectly, and it will be happening this weekend. So we will be kicking that off later tonight, and I'm very, very excited about it. So I wanted to give you guys some tips if this is something that you guys wanted to try with you and some of your writer friends. That could, I guess, be in your own city or could be across the country or across the world. So if you wanted to give this a try, here's some hints on how to do that. This video, however, is probably going to get a little wacky in format because not only am I going to give you some tips, I'm going to lay out what it is that we do for our writing retreats. We have, like I said, done writing retreats in person, so we kind of know how everybody works and what works for us. And just because what works for our group doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work for your group. So I'm going to give you some tips that I think are probably really important things that you need to do regardless. And then I'm going to lay out what we do so that way you can modify it to whatever works for your group. Some of these tips you may also find useful if you are doing a in-person writing retreat later in the year or next year, and you do want to make the most of it. So hopefully these will be helpful for you, and let's get started. All right, so my first tip for a virtual writing retreat is make sure that you have your technology in check. My suggestion would be to get one platform that is going to be able to do video and one platform that is going to be able to do messaging. Maybe you are more tech savvy than me and my friends and you've got something that will work in both ways, but for us, we tend to use Skype. We are going to use Zoom this weekend to do that, and also have a messaging piece to be able to be in contact a little bit more often. Once I get into how things work for us, you'll be able to understand of why I'm suggesting both different platforms. But there's many, many things out there you can use. There's Facebook Messenger, there's WhatsApp, there's just text messages. One of the things we use is called GroupMe, which is a really great platform that we really like to use. So there's totally different options out there, but not only do you need to pick what you're going to do, you need to make sure that everybody involved is compatible with that. If you're dealing with different countries, there might be some different issues. Like if you're using text messaging and you have people between Canada and the United States, there could be costs for texting. So maybe using a different app would be better. So you need to have those considerations. And if you want to do video, maybe give it a test run and make sure that everybody's video is going to work. So it would be the worst thing to set all of this up in advance and then find out that your tech isn't working and you can't actually interact with people the way you had intended. So make sure that you pick what you're going to do, make sure that it works for all of your members, and do a dry run. The second thing I would suggest when you're doing a virtual writing retreat, or if you are doing an in-person writing retreat, is to plan ahead. Yes, if you're in the middle of a manuscript, it might be very easy to be like, hey, I'm just going to work on this book for the entire weekend, which is great and super easy to do. But I do like to suggest of making sure that if you are coming to the end of a project, or if you're working on a smaller project, that you have more than enough work that's going to fill that time, because you never know how quickly you are going to get through that piece. And if you're it's Saturday morning and you're already done. What are you going to do for this whole next day and a half? You don't want to waste this precious time you've allotted yourself to work on your writing. And the other thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be writing. A lot of the times when we do these writing retreats, some people will be writing, some will be editing, some will be outlining a book, or I've seen other ones where they're working on their newsletter automation sequence or something like that. So just make sure you've planned yourself enough tasks that are focused on your writing stuff to get through the entire weekend and then some. Because if you don't plan enough work, you could be sitting there completely bored or wasting time trying to find something to do. And my third tip, which is kind of a necessary evil, is to commit to it. Obviously, if you are going somewhere in person, it's very easy to commit to what you're doing. You're stuck in a house or a cabin or a tent or whatever with these people for an entire weekend or week or however long your retreat is. But when you're working from home and you're doing it virtually, it is very, very easy to walk away from your computer or to not actually commit yourself to doing that writing. So before you start, tell your family that you're going to be doing this and that it's important to you, and these are the times that you're going to be writing. Make sure that you have enough snacks for everything that you need, and you don't need to be going grocery shopping on the middle of a Saturday. Be prepared for those things at home, and having the things that you want to have on hand if you are a writing snacker. Make sure that anything that's being taken care of, if you have kids to deal with, that you either have a sitter or somebody who's to pick them up for ballet practice or whatever that needs to be, is all taken care of ahead of time. If you don't actually commit to it, then you aren't going to get as much out of it, and you'll probably be very disappointed at the end of your retreat when you haven't finished nearly as much as you wanted to because you didn't fully commit to what you're doing. Close your door, put your headphones on, and make sure that you are really, really committing to what you're doing. The other thing is, right now is not the best time, but just because it's a virtual writing retreat, if you're dealing with people in other cities or whatever, you don't necessarily have to stay at home. You could go write at the library all day, or you could go to a Starbucks, or you could go to a park, or whatever works for you. You don't necessarily have to be in your house to do a virtual writing retreat. So find something that's going to work for you, that you're going to be able to focus, and you're going to have the least amount of distractions. Letting people know is probably the best thing you can do, because hopefully it'll reduce the amount of knocks on your door. But if people aren't going to respect your space, then maybe you need to find a new space. Okay, so now you have my top 3 key things that you need to plan before you start your virtual writing retreat. But this is kind of like how me and my friends do it. So hopefully some of these things will be helpful to you, and you will want to impart them on your own. So one of the things that we always like to do, and this is one of the reasons that we have the video stuff set up in advance, is we always do a kickoff. When we do this in person, we will do it as a dinner. Obviously, we're going to do this online. And so what we do is, usually it's the coming together of everybody coming from all these different places. And so it's all the highs and how's everything going. But before we let ourselves get into, gossiping and talking about anything we want to talk about, we sit down and make our goals known to everybody in the group of what we're planning to accomplish over the weekend. Obviously, everybody's goal is going to be different. Some people are going to write really quickly and want to get through a lot of words. Some people are going to be outlining. Some people are going to be working on maybe a short story or a reader magnet or something like that. So it's basically just sitting down and laying out what you plan to get done and what you're hoping to get done. It's not a competitive kind of thing. We basically do it as an accountability and to pep everybody up. We also, both virtually and in person, will get a large scrap of paper to which we will write out what our goals are for the weekend. If we are doing word sprints and we are writing, we can write those things down on there, but it's basically a highlighted list of, these are all the things that I hope to accomplish before the end of the weekend. And it keeps you focused and it gives you something to strive for. After that, then we can talk about whatever we want. And because we don't see each other very often, we also typically use it as a time to discuss anything that we have coming up. I don't know what I want to do with my new series, or what do you think of this character, or I've been struggling with this. And it allows us to have that time to talk through those issues with somebody else who understands, because all of those people are writers. That's one of the beauty things about having a retreat, either virtual or in person, is because you get to talk through things with other writers. Writing can be very lonely, so being able to talk to other people and share some of your issues and be able to help them with theirs is very, very helpful and helps boost creativity as well. Typically for us, we also have an agenda. We have that has actually already been sent out for this weekend, and it's listed out when we're going to be writing, what times we're going to be meeting for our video chats, and what our plans are for the evening. So for us, like I said, we will have our kickoff on Thursday, and then we're going to be starting at 8 a.m. the next day. So basically how we normally work things is we will start at a particular time at the top of the hour. We typically will do a 45-minute sprint and then a 15-minute break. So the reason we've chosen this is because it just kind of fell into place with one of the people that writes. The longest sprint that she likes to do is 45 minutes. Personally, I'm a 15 to 20 minute sprint person. So I will, if I'm writing, I'll do 2 sprints within that 45-minute time. If someone's outlining, they'll just work for 45 minutes until the timer goes up. Basically what we do is we'll all kick off at the same time. We will do a messaging thing saying, okay, we're starting at the top of the hour. And then once we get to that 45 minutes, we will jump online, either on our phones or whatever we've got our messenger piece set up as, and we will have that conversation of, hey, how did you do? Oh, that's awesome. Or I had this problem, or I'm struggling with this right now. And we've got 15 minutes to kind of like hash through things of how we did, or if we're having any issues before the next hour starts. And then basically we will sit in and we will do that again. And we will keep going till about noon. We take a break for an hour for lunch and just, check on your own life, check your social media, do whatever you want to do. And this will basically all be by text. We'll jump back in the afternoon, and we work till about 4 or 5 o'clock, depending on the day. After that, we take about an hour and a half break. Usually we would go, if we were in person or even at home, we would go for a walk, and then we will jump online on the video, and then we will discuss things in detail. This is what I did today. This is where it is in comparison to my goals. And these are the things that I have questions about, or I'm proud of, or I'm struggling with, or whatever. And everybody kind of goes around and says those main things. So then that way we get an idea of where everybody's sitting and where we are in terms of our goals, and still get that like group time to have that conversation. For us, then what we are going to do is we are going to do movie night. When we've done these in person, we would typically pick the cheesiest movie we could find. And the virtual writing retreat is going to be no exception, especially with the new Netflix party function on the, I believe it's on Chrome, where we'll all be able to watch the same movie at the same time. So for us, we do that because we write all day and then we take a break. For some groups, they might be want to have dinner and then get back into writing into the middle of the night if they're trying to get a lot of words in. For us, we kind of try to balance between the social and the actual writing time as well. So it might not be quite as productive as maybe something that you'd want to do, but it's basically a jumping off point of where things would go. We would continue basically the same process for a couple of days. If it was in person, we typically would have cooked wherever we were, and then the Saturday night we would usually go out for dinner and spend the evening out doing something else. And then on Sunday, before we wrap up, we will have one last video chat to see how we did and where we were in terms of our goals. So if you are interested in setting up a virtual retreat, this is a basic schedule that you could use. However, like I said, maybe you're more of a night writer, or maybe you don't want to start till 1 o'clock or noon and work from that, and then everybody sleeps in the morning. So however you want to structure it, or maybe you have children or young children that you need to deal with, or pets or parents that you need to deal with. So maybe you do your thing in the morning and then you start your retreat in the afternoon. The nice thing about the virtual retreat is people can technically jump on and jump off as they need to. Like I said, it is the best to commit to it as much as possible, but sometimes it is a little bit of an impossibility when you have other other commitments and other responsibilities in your life. So a virtual retreat is actually really great for those people who can't maybe spare an entire weekend, but can definitely get on for as much as humanly possible. If you've ever tried a virtual retreat, please let me know in the comments. And if you would like some more hints on them, or just want to discuss that, that would be great. Like I said, mine starts tonight with all of my fantastic writer friends. And if you guys are watching, because I know you watch my videos, I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And I will report back on how it went next Thursday. I will have a new video as well, but I will tell you a little bit more about this retreat. If we do another one in person, maybe I will be able to give you some video and some roll of how that went and some of the things we did and where we were, but we don't have anything planned just yet. However, this virtual retreat is something I'm very much looking forward to and should give me a good kick for the start of Camp NaNoWriMo. If you are in Camp NaNoWriMo, my handle, code name, whatever, is Rookie Pen, ROOKIEPEN. If you would like to add me as a friend, go ahead and I will see you in the trenches. So if you would like more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you will see me on Thursdays. Otherwise, stay safe, stay home, and keep writing.